Education, definitely a passion of yours. You've spent a lot of time, many years working to change things, to open up other options. We increasingly see charter schools. You were instrumental in starting the first one in Florida. Conversations about vouchers, conversations about Common Core. Tell us where you are, what you think in that mix is the most important thing that needs to happen.
So I think we should say that rising student achievement for all students is the goal, and that the system we have today with over 13,000 government-run, politicized, unionized monopolies is probably not the best governance model for 2014 and going forward. If we can agree on that, then, I mean, look, we spend more per student than any country in the world, other than Luxembourg, and we have these results that are just not acceptable for a great country. So, and there's lots of reasons, and people excuse away why those numbers exist to defend the system, but if you start with the premise that's not acceptable, then at least we should be open to more dramatic reforms than just kind of marginally tinkering on the edges. And that's what I believe we should do. We should have higher expectations. High standards is really important. You can dumb down standards as we've done, and all children are above average, and that makes their parents maybe feel better. But if they get a high school diploma and it means that they have to retake high school math and reading to start their community college, or they have no career skills because high school hasn't given them that, who are we fooling?
Let's talk a little bit about Common Core, because I want you to answer the concerns that some parents and critics have, that it is in some way a nationalization or federalization of education, and then it takes away some of the local and state autonomy with respect to local school boards and parents and their choices, and puts everybody on the same track for education outcomes.
Well, first of all, if you want more choices for parents, then you need to open up the laws in 50 states to allow those choices to take place. And anybody that's for that, I welcome them to the fight, because I got tire marks on my forehead advocating across the country more choices, public and private, across the board. And if that's their interest, fantastic. Join the battle, because many states only allow one option that the monopoly dictates to their kids, and that is not a dynamic response to the challenges we face. Common Core state standards are standards that 45 governors and 45 state school officers in this country voluntarily agreed to build. They are higher, by most accounts, they're higher than all but a handful of states. They're fewer, so a teacher in the classroom actually can teach all the standards in a given year. They don't require a national curriculum, which is the main argument that's used against this. Of course they don't. I mean, that's not the point. The point is to have one higher lofty expectation and 1,000 different means by which you deliver the content to achieve it, not the other way around. Right now we have a Tower of Babel in terms of standards and a much more standardized means of delivery. And we could change that, but if you don't have high expectations, high standards, you're not going to go anywhere. The idea that it's a federal program is just not true. It's just not. It was voluntarily created by governors, and the only argument you could make is that the Obama administration used the race to the top waivers to say, if you're going to embrace this, if you're going to take the money to create the assessments and other things, you have to accept something you already did. In other words, the states had already agreed to these standards, and that was a mistake. You know, so when it's a pejorative term, by the way, to call something Obama Core amongst conservatives, and that's exactly where we are. But if people don't recognize that dumbed down standards are going to achieve, yield the same result that we've had, then we're really missing the chance to move forward as a country. So I'm totally committed to this. I'm not, I guess I've been out of office for a while, so the idea that something that I support because people are opposed to it, I have to stop supporting it if there's not any reason based on fact to do that. Maybe it's stubbornness. I don't know what it is, but I just don't feel compelled to run for cover when I think this is the right thing to do for our country. And others that supported the standards all of a sudden now are opposed to it. I don't get it. High standards matter, and I hope that people rejoin in the effort to try to persuade people this is the right thing to do.